What's up, everybody? You're tuning in to part 2 of today's show, the morning show. I usually don't do these in the morning, but I had the urge to do so, given that we got all these sports topics to talk about. I'm Ryan Thomas, the host of the Thomas Take Sports Podcast, coming to you live. And we had some breaking news yesterday. The XFL is back. Will be back in 2020. Vince McMahon announced that there will be an 8-team league, 10-week schedule, 40-man rosters. Players with a precluded past, a criminal past, will not be allowed to play in the XFL, as well as public stances on social issues will be on a player's own time rather than in the face of the league. So I'm very interested to see how this pans out. I'm very excited to see what cities get picked in terms of cities that will represent teams in the XFL. I'm hoping that Buffalo is one of those teams. I took to Twitter, came up with 4 possible names, at Thomas Takeover, my Twitter account, where I came up with 4 names for a XFL Buffalo team. And I want to take a vote again on the podcast and see what you guys think about that. So about those teams, those team names. So, currently, I said, which team name that I name currently on the podcast for the hopeful XFL Buffalo squad do you like best? Number 1, the Buffalo Blitz. Number 2, the Buffalo Destroyers, which is a ode to the Arena League team. The Buffalo Bullies, which is just a pun on Rex Ryan, The Buffalo Wings, kind of like, we could do like a bald eagle type thing, or maybe their mascot could be a chicken wing. Maybe their logo could be a chicken wing if you really want to get, a little, corny about it. And so far, out of all the names that were given, all the choices I gave the people of Twitter, I got 13 votes so far. 47% of the vote is the Buffalo Wings. So I'm hoping that more people vote in this poll. I will obviously post this poll on Facebook, Instagram, once again on Twitter as well. So thank you for those that have voted so far. Posted that this morning, and obviously I've had some votes so far. But the leader so far is the Buffalo Wings. So I'll definitely be posting a lot of XFL stuff from now until 2020, actually. I mean, that is the one thing that Vince McMahon can hang his hat on in terms of how is he going to get this right? How are they going to do this the right way this time? The best way that they can do this is giving it time. The last time they tried this, it didn't work out so well. It didn't go that well, due in large part to the fact that they didn't take their time with it. They rushed it, and it was not a success, to say the least. So that is my take on the XFL. Definitely, as more news develops on that, I will be so willing to talk about it because I think that this world needs more football, different football from the NFL and from the NCAA. I've always held that opinion. I always wished in a way, I was in that era of the USFL and leagues like that really changed the face of the NFL for years to come, and the XFL was a part of that as well. So I took to Facebook. I said, hit me up with some sports questions for the Friday morning show. # scrambled eggs. It's my favorite breakfast meal. And let's see here. We got some questions. Patrick Pfister. What is top priority other than quarterback? Big debate in my group. Defensive end, middle linebacker, or defensive tackle. Who are the top 5 to watch at each position? I think he means a top 5 like ranking. Like I'm going to try to put my own spin on this question. Top positions of need, I would say quarterback is number 1 for the Buffalo Bills. In terms of position number 2, I would say linebacker. Linebacker in general, not necessarily middle linebacker, but linebacker in general. Lorenzo Alexander is getting a little older. Matt Milano was a stud rookie last year, but Preston Brown is going to be asking for quite a bit of money. So given that there's a lot of stud linebackers in this year's draft, a guy that I really like is Tremaine Edwards. Raquan Smith is another one. And the Bills have obviously interviewed some linebackers, so that's definitely going to be a position that they'll address. I think quarterback, middle linebacker, the two positions that they need. In order, I would go quarterback, linebacker, defensive tackle, and actually, not necessarily defensive end, because I think they're okay there, but they might sign one via free agency, but secondary depth. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde were great for Buffalo last year, but if one of those guys goes down, who's going to take their spot? And potentially, corner could be a position of need, and I'm not saying it on behalf of Trey White, on the part of Trey White. I'm saying it due to the fact that E.J. Gaines is set to be a free agent this year if the Bills can't bring him back. So that's another position that could potentially become a need. It really depends on this re-sign process, what players are re-signed, what players are sent packing. So to answer your question, quarterback, linebacker, defensive tackle, secondary depth would be my answer. And I got another one from the dude that is Eric Van Wyck. He said, "Who do you think the Vikings would like to keep more, Keenum or Bridgewater? Also, who is the most likely team to try and trade up to grab Josh Rosen or Sam Darnold, and how much risk do you think they would be taking in doing that? Who do you think should trade up?" So, a lot to take in here. So, I will give you my take. I did post on the Facebook page, on the Thomas Take Live Facebook page, who I think the Vikings should keep, who I think they will keep. Originally, pre-NFC Championship, I would say that keeping Case Keenum would have been a good thing. But given that he didn't play that well, I think that they might look to move on. And I know that kind of sounds a little bit jaded, saying that, one game makes all the difference. Well, one game, when you're riding on a Super Bowl hope, a Super Bowl spot, it kind of does make a difference. He did not play well whatsoever. Was not good, and that can be attributed to a lot of things. His playing style against Philly's defense didn't mesh well. They couldn't, find a way to game plan to beat Philly's defense offensively. So Case Keenum also is going to be looking to get paid based on the season that he had for the Vikings. And the Vikings invested a first-round draft choice in Teddy Bridgewater. They invested a first-round pick, 32nd overall, but a first-round pick nonetheless. And I do believe Mike Zimmer has a vision for the team that Teddy Bridgewater is their quarterback. And realistically, he was playing pretty well before he had that injury. So I would say they let Case Keenum either walk or they try to trade his rights and get something in return. In terms of trading his rights, they'd have to trade him before the new league year takes place, which is in March. So, I think they'll go with Bridgewater, though. Also, who is the most likely team to try and trade up to grab Josh Rosen or Darnold? And how much risk do you think they would be taking in doing that? Who do you think should trade up? In my last mock draft, I have the Redskins and the New York Jets trading up for quarterbacks. Josh Rosen in my latest mock is going second overall to the New York Giants. The New York Jets move up from 6 to 4 in a trade with the Cleveland Browns to take Baker Mayfield. And the Washington Redskins move up from 13 to 5 to take Sam Darnold because I do not think Kirk Cousins is going to stay there. Realistically, when you're trading up for a quarterback in the draft, especially we go back, recent years, 2012, the Washington Redskins themselves traded up to get RG3. And obviously, people can give their opinion on how that worked out or how it didn't work out. That's definitely out there. But at the time, RG3 was a stud college quarterback. He was flashy. He was a new age Michael Vick. Dan Snyder really wanted him. He went out, he got him, but they gave up a lot of picks to do so. They traded up with the St. Louis Rams at the time and gave up multiple firsts, multiple seconds, gave up the farm. That is the risk, giving up your future for a rookie. Obviously so many things could go right in the decision, and so many things can go wrong. I would say double the amount of things could go wrong than go right, due to the fact that you're trading that many picks away, and due to the fact that you don't know how long this guy's got. At any point, a player could get injured. RG3, case in point again, getting injured his rookie year. He had a hell of a rookie season. And you fast forward 5-6 years later, he's not even in the league. So, obviously the benefactor of this was Kirk Cousins and the Redskins for taking Kirk Cousins the same draft. Had they not done that, that would have been a huge setback for their franchise. They would probably be at the bottom of the barrel right now if they were or continuously, maybe the last few years, they would have been at the bottom of the barrel. They might have been able to take, one of the Goffs or Wentzes or something like that to bail them out of it, but that's neither here nor there. They drafted Kirk Cousins. He's been good for them, but now Kirk Cousins is in a position to re-sign for a boatload of money. He's been franchise tagged twice. He's had back-to-back 4,000-yard, 25-plus touchdown seasons. And I know a lot of teams that would be looking to put a quarterback with his production in their lineup. Cleveland, maybe Buffalo, maybe Denver, to name a few teams. Maybe the Giants. There's a lot of things that could happen. This is about to be a really crazy offseason. So, hopefully I answered your question there, but I don't think it's a good move in any case to trade up unless you feel as if you are one piece away from going to a Super Bowl, which most teams in the top 10 are not in that position. The only team that I think has some work to do, but I do think that they should be a consideration for a AFC powerhouse type team is the Raiders, but they have Derek Carr. They have no need to go up and trade for a quarterback. There's not many teams that could trade up that are still, one piece away. If you're thinking Buffalo is more than one piece away from making a Super Bowl. And more oftentimes than not, trading up for a rookie does not have immediate success. We can look at Carson Wentz, we can look at Dak Prescott, we can look at Big Ben, having immediate success as a rookie. But you can also look at Eli Manning, you could also look at Peyton Manning, you could also look at Jared Goff. Oftentimes, you take 2 steps back, 3 steps back in drafting a rookie in order to take 1 step forward the following year. And I personally think in terms of Buffalo, they're at a position where they are very close to made the playoffs this past year with a mediocre quarterback. They just improve that position. And in the process, if they were to get a guy long term, that would be great as well. But I feel like they are at a position where they need to kind of strike while the iron is hot and get a veteran and a rookie to bring in alongside Nate Peterman and have 3 of the best quarterbacks that they could possibly have. Case in point, pun intended, Case Keenum, Teddy Bridgewater, and Sam Bradford. Bradford goes down, or Bridgewater goes down, Bradford steps in, they trade for him, then Bradford goes down, but in the process they've gotten Case Keenum. Had that not happened, I really think that, and obviously given the right coaching, the Vikings would have been screwed. So that is my take on the XFL Part 2, as well as some of the mailbag questions that I was asked today. So thank you all for tuning in. I will answer more mailbag questions tomorrow. Take care.